Hey everybody, this is JJ at realitysurvival.com again, and since I just had the occasion to do a lesson on Fire Building 101 where I showed you how to build a squaw wood fire in perfect conditions, we had a thunderstorm come through last night, and it's been raining all night long and this morning until just about 5 minutes ago here, and it let up. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that in a really wet and soaked condition that the techniques that I laid out in that Fire Building 101 will work with soaking wet squaw wood as well. Got my preparation laid out, starting with the very small thin stuff that's smaller than a number 2 pencil, and then working into the bigger fuel size stuff, and then ultimately into some actual logs that are going to burn for quite some time. And then I also have a makeshift platform. I found this Bud Light can on the way in. It's one of the tall ones, so it's a little smaller than 12 by 12, which is kind of the ideal size that we're looking for, but it has excellent characteristics as far as reflecting the heat back up into the kindling like I spoke about in the other lesson. And then I've also got the brace there, so this is going to work out pretty good. So we will go ahead and back out here and get this started. And my tinder is just one single cotton ball and Vaseline. That's all I'm using. We're not going to get too crazy and use a whole bunch of stuff or anything like that, but we're just going to use this. Okay, so now we'll let that get going, and we'll start popping some tinder on there. Oh yeah. Just to make sure you don't think I'm gaming the system, I'm going to take this bottle of water here, and I'm going to dump it all over the kindling, just so that you can see that even though it's not raining right now, if it were, this kindling is plenty wet. Okay, so set that on there, leave it alone. Grab the second bundle. Wait for the flames to start to build a little bit. As soon as they start poking through the very top of it, I'm going to set this second bundle on there. Getting pretty close. I'm going to go ahead and set it on there and let that start to dry out as well. Remember, I've got the brace over here that is built in my airflow so that this is going to be able to continue to breathe and dry these sticks out as the tinder burns, which is going to then allow them to go ahead and catch fire. I don't really have to be in a hurry for anything. Good fully saturated cotton ball and Vaseline will burn 3 to 5 minutes or so. So we've got plenty of time here. You can hear the sizzle probably in the fire. It's drying the wood out. It's going to start building up, poking through the top. Then I'll add my next piece on. You're going to have an urge to want to mess with it. You're going to want to have an urge to open it up and move it around and all that kind of stuff, but you don't want to do that because the tinder down there is creating hot spots on these pieces of kindling, and that is what is drying out your kindling. Those little hot spots right there are where it's going to start to actually burn, so you want to just leave it alone and let it sit there and go, let it build up. Alright, we're starting to get it to build up pretty good. Starting to come up through the second layer there. It's actually got some wood burning down in there now, that's good. Alright. As you can see, my flame's going to come up Just getting ready to poke through the top here. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and set that one right over the top. Let that build up as well. As you can see, the smoke's starting to pour out of there. It's starting to dry itself out, getting a good reflection back up off the platform. And again, that platform could be anything: logs, green logs, dead logs, rocks, whatever you can do. Just something to get that tinder up off the ground. And obviously a wet fire is going to put out a whole lot more smoke until it gets going. And it's going pretty good now. It's going to start popping up through the third layer here real quick. It looks like the flames are just starting to build, just enough to start popping through the top. Again, we don't gotta mess with it. Just let it sit there. There the flames are. That's worked up through the third layer. And I'll pop down the top here. We'll let that burn for a second. Since we're in a state park, I can't let this burn too long. We're probably already attracting too much attention with all this smoke. But we'll let this get going real good here and show you that it's a good sustainable fire. Takes patience and preparation. The key really to this, more than anything, is preparation. I laid out my ground cloth. I had a huge armload of, kindling and fuel. I broke that down into the very smallest stuff, and then over into the stuff that's bigger than a number 2 pencil, and then the stuff that's thumb size or larger. And that's what you want to do every time. Is you want to break that down in that manner and make sure that you've got all your stuff laid out and ready to go before you grab your tinder and start it up. As you can see, it's got some pretty good flame burning down in there. Just drying those wet twigs out. I mean, they are soaking wet. And there's some flame popping out the top. Got flames. Go ahead and throw on another stack if I need to. Let that stuff start drying out. As you can see, it's starting to put out a whole lot more smoke, starting to build up more heat, dry out some of that wet stuff. This area here is a really great great area for gathering squaw wood fuel. As you can see, we've got some trees around here that are pretty good for it. Got up in these tree wells and grabbed a bunch of that fuel and kindling. Only took me about 12 minutes or so to grab a whole, armload of it, which is enough to get this going. Looks like it's gonna burst into some pretty good flame here pretty fast. Hopefully our battery doesn't run out. We got about 4 minutes left. I think it's going to go pretty good. Already getting some good heat off of here. Got a good sustainable coal base going on too. A lot of this little stuff in the middle is going to drop down right into the center. It's burning nice and hot down there. It's not going to take long. There we go. Popped up through the 4th layer. I got a good solid flame going here. I'd be able to go ahead and rest some of the larger fuel size stuff on there and get that going. But as I said, since we're in a state park and we've already probably attracted the attention of the park ranger or the fire department, I'm going to have to shut this down here pretty soon. So anyway, I just wanted to demonstrate to you that the principles of what I showed you the other day are going to work, whether it's wet or dry. As you can see, the fire we got going here is a nice little fire. It's burning good, coming up through there. I mean, all that squaw wood is just soaking wet, and then I went ahead and added to it by pouring some water on there. And as you can see on the ground, I mean, everything around here is just soaked. So the principles work. All you got to do is just be patient with it and let it go. Not touch it. Make sure that you've got your good platform, something that's going to reflect your ignition source, as well as a good brace. That's about 3 inches or 4 inches, and then pile it on, and just leave it. Once you alternate your piles, then you just let it sit there. And as you can see, we've got kind of a hole burnt down in the middle there, and it's coming up, flames coming up through there really nicely. And if I was going to build this on even bigger, obviously I would go ahead and put on some more fuel now, because we've got a good sustainable fire there. So anyway, that is my demonstration on building a wet squaw wood fire, just so that you guys know that the principles will work, regardless of whether it's dry in your backyard or out in a really soaking wet state park somewhere. And there we go. Alright, remember the first part of self-reliance is self. Have a good day.